'Cause I just know you got me thinking about forever. Got a crush on you. I just wanna.
Hey guys, welcome to Life with Kimmi
and Jeff.
Hey, so you guys know we just chatted up about all different things. Today's topic is it healthy to spend so much time together?
Now, this is, again, we're coming from a perspective of folks that's in their 50s. Now, of course, you can think about it, whether you're newly married, you've got your significant other. But from our perspective, we in our 50s, we've been married for 30 years. So just kind of have that in mind where we're coming from what angle, why is it a topic? Do you spend too much time with each other? Because some people could say, it depends on their lifestyle. Well, we'll get into some of the reasons why we're talking about that. You want to go and explain a little bit?
Yeah, I'll get started. So sometimes people will say, do y'all get tired? They ask us that. Do y'all get tired of being together all the time? Because we work together, we worship together. And before, we had a little separation. I had a job outside the house. I worked at the hospital. Jeffrey had a job. He worked at home, but he was doing insurance remotely. He been remote. He was 10 years plus remote before he started working for himself. Now we work together for ourselves in my business that I semi-started. We'll take. He might take issue with that.
Yes, okay.
But I started this business, so now he works for me, and that's an issue sometimes too. We probably need to unpack that. But all that being said, though, we spend a lot of time together. So is it too much time? And people ask us, y'all get sick of being together? Y'all get sick of working together? Y'all look at each other all day? And I would say no. There are times when it's more challenging than others. But most of the time, I really enjoy hanging out with him. That's why you need to marry a best friend. And we were friends prior to liking each other. So, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm saying I'm trying to shape it so you understand from what angle we're coming from, and this point in your life for you as well, but for us, because we've been married for over 30 years, we have started our own business where I'm no longer working for corporate. I was at a corporate job for 20 some years. I had jobs before that, but this was the last job, was the longest one I'd been at, actually for 22 years. Kim had her own outside job, had my own outside job, so we could be separate. But now that for the last 5 years, we've had our own business. Folks will think that we're retired because we're at home. We're not retired. We're just working, and it kind of looks like retired because we're at the house. We're with each other. We're out and about, and we can run about. I don't have to worry about the boss checking on when I'm getting up in the morning. So yeah. My boss that I have now, you see how people, she's trying to get me to bite on it earlier, and I'm not gonna go that route. I'm gonna take it from this perspective.
You gonna be like Michelle Obama and take the high road?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the high road. However,
if you know.
But the boss that I have now doesn't get up, is not there checking on when I'm getting up. So, but I'm already self-driven because my previous job, what I said, I was doing corporate work and remote. You had to handle your business. In other words, you had to get up and produce. Otherwise, and you had to be self-motivated. Otherwise, you wasn't going to be doing that job much longer. So from that perspective, I can say the same thing. I enjoy spending time with Kim. We're with each other all the time because we do the business together. So therefore, we have to. So you better like who you're hanging with, who you're married with, or who you're spending your most time with, particularly at this point in your life. Again, that's just from the angle that we're coming from. So we do enjoy it. Now that doesn't mean that we're with each other every time. When we get up in the morning to the time we go to bed, from the perspective that we're in the same room. We might be under the same roof, but there's certain times, like later in the evening, she go watches her shows, I'll watch mine, and then later on we'll come together and then watch something together. When it comes to like TV time,
I'm into period pieces. Like I love Elizabeth and The Crown and stuff like that. Jeffrey's more into sci-fi. So even though, yeah, we spend a lot of time together, I make sure I do my stuff, he do his stuff, like he was saying. Our hobbies are not the same. I don't really have a hobby that I can say. Social media is my hobby. I love talking and working on that, building my business, building our business. That's what I love doing. Jeffrey's hobby would be what?
Working in the yard. My yard is my hobby.
I try to take that from him sometime, but he enjoys cutting his grass and mowing his lawn. I just think sometimes as he's getting older, let somebody else do it, you know. But that's something that he enjoys.
Yeah, because I do my own fertilizer. I fertilize stuff, and I wanted to. Like Kim mentioned, we're from Detroit, and that's just how I was raised. You cut your own grass. I'm not saying that there won't be a point that I'll have somebody, because I do every now and then. I have somebody cut our grass, depending if I'm not able to, if I'm out of town or something. I'll have them come and do it. But that doesn't mean, at some point I guess it'll get to that. But
let's not pray that, because it is $85 a pop.
Well, you see, it can't be both ways. It can't be I'm gonna take it from you. I like take it from you, but I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
Somewhere. But when I say the meaning, while I can physically, and there's nothing's happened to where I can't do it, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy being out, and it gives me I have my headphones on, and I'm in my own little space. So here's a couple of things to keep in mind. If you are in a similar situation where you're at this point in your life and you're spending a lot of time with your mates, the question is, do you spend too much time? Well, you have to know how to navigate that. That means that you want to respect each other's space and give them a little time that maybe they need to breathe a little bit. That doesn't mean that you got to be in each other's face all the time. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do. I think we balance that pretty well for us. And also, go ahead. Say something else. Go ahead.
Because there is something called gray divorce. There's something called gray divorce. Look it up. Oprah did a whole show on it, gray divorce. I've talked about it just a wee bit on here when I was doing one of my talking walks. And gray divorce is just that. People in their 50s, 60s, 70s now are getting divorced after being married so long, because now a lot of women are not dependent on their husband for the money that they used to be. They're just not happy. So they like, I'm out of here. So you don't want that to happen in your marriage or your relationship. So you do have to work at it, especially as you get older. Everybody's retired. The kids are gone from the house. And now you sitting there looking at each other like, what do I do with him? What do I do with her? You don't know each other. So that's one of the things that I enjoy about us spending time together. Even though we work together and everything, we still have separate lives. I have my friends. He have his friends. We have our friends together. Most of our friends are each other's friends. But I'm saying I spend time with my girlfriend. Some people, when they get married, they're like, well, I got to do everything with my husband. Or they will say that, I don't go nowhere without him. I don't go nowhere without her. Well, I disagree with that. I think you need to go somewhere, because that gives you something to talk about. I always have said that when I see young couples and they don't separate at all, ever. And sometimes the husband or the wife, either one, typically it's the husband, he like, can you go do something else? And the wife is like, oh, I can't move without him. Yeah.
Yeah, that may sound, and it depends. Like it could be from a cultural perspective. It could be just your background. However, the life will step in where after initially it may seem good. Well, we hang with each other all the time, and we have this thing that we're not going to separate. But at some point, you want to have a little bit of space. You gotta, you do. I mean, there are times. I mean, you don't go to the bathroom together, do you? I mean, So you get the point that's being made. So those are a couple of things to keep in mind.
I think I go out a little bit more by myself than Jeffrey does. Because I go out with my sister. I used to go out a lot with my girlfriends prior to my parents moving here. So we lived in Georgia. I was here 10 years in Georgia before they came. Then after they came, the next 10, 15 years, I was just always with them. So, but I'm not afraid to go out with other people. Now, I've never traveled on a girls' trip just because I haven't. My friend group doesn't typically do that. If they do anything, they invite me. But they don't typically do that. I know of friends that do that. and I'm not opposed to it. I just like traveling with my husband. Me and my sister have taken several trips when my younger sister was ill, back and forth to Michigan. We had to travel for a whole year. We did that. He came, but a lot of times I was up there by myself with my family. And then my sister and I actually had to fly to help my brother one time he was ill. So I don't do a lot of just socially girl stuff like that by myself, but just locally going out, have a drink, go to the movies. I took a whole group. We went to see The Devil Wears Prada. I went with another friend group and we saw the Michael movie. So I'm not opposed to doing it, but I just never did a girl trip. I don't think I will do that because, again, I like to be with my husband on trips, even though he may not, and he really will do what I want to do on a trip. He's not that person. He'll push through, and we try to make sure, I always try to find something that he likes to do when we're traveling, because usually he'll let me just do whatever I want to do. So like I usually try to find you something
something with cars or something sci-fi or whatever, and I appreciate that.
You do?
Yeah, I appreciate
that.
She
You never said that.
Oh,
well, I guess he have.
Yeah, I don't think it's,
He ain't gonna say it like I say it.
Yeah, like, oh, you really, I don't know. It's just say it in my own way, but not in a way that it's dismissive. I kind of say it at the moment, right at that at that time.
But I didn't know he really does value when I.
Yeah, I appreciate it because I know that it's a give and take, and that's if for any good relationship, it's about give and take and knowing each other and what and doing what the other person likes. And that's if you want to be happy. Let me just clarify that. You can
if you want to be happy.
Yeah, because that's why I keep prefacing different things so that it's understood where we're coming from. Now, and I'm not saying that we're walking around here perfect people and we don't have any issues.
They know us.
Yeah. So
y'all know watch the cooking segments. We ain't perfect.
Yeah. So. Having said all that, and we'll do some of those. We'll have some of those coming up in a little bit down the road. But having said all of that, folks, if you want to have some measure of happiness, you want to do that. So that means you want to communicate ahead of time. You're starting to get a little frustrated. I need some space. Not where you wait till you just explode, and that can happen. We've had friends, other younger couples, they just kind of like ask us, do we got to be? Is that part of the rule? Because they look to us to kind of help them marriage wise or just being a little older, and no, you don't have to be with each other all the time. But my point, let me get back to that. You want to communicate that, hey, I may need some space. All right. Or maybe we're not doing enough together. It depends on, it could be the other way around. But you want to communicate those things before that frustration builds up. Communication is extremely important in any relationship if you want it to last. So that's one of a couple of things. The next thing is to laugh. You want to enjoy yourself and not take yourself so seriously. If you can't do that, we watch TV shows. We watch, TV shows of families and what have you, and they laugh and doing silly stuff. Why can't we laugh within our own stuff? So those are just a couple of points. Anything else?
Yeah, and going back to having some alone time, or even if you are together still, because like when we work out together, sometimes you guys know this, we'll go to the park and Jeffrey walks 10 times faster than I do. I'm like, you go do you, I'll do me, and we meet back, or going to the gym. So we still are doing the activity together, but we just doing it a little bit differently. So hopefully some of these tips will help you, again, because we don't want no gray divorces out there, guys. Y'all done stuck it out this long. Y'all done been together. Sometimes you got to rethink things, as you get older. And just what does that look like? It just looks a little bit differently, maybe find you a hobby if you don't have one, and that way your mate doesn't have to be your everything. And that's something else that has surfaced for me, especially with the loss of my parents and stuff, and I've always been semi-independent, again, I love hanging out with Jeffrey, but I wanted to start doing a few things by myself because I was like, well, what if something happens to him? And this is all I know is him. I can't make a step or a move without him. So I purposely made myself go to lunch before. I went to walk by myself before. I don't do it as often as I need to. A lot of my friends are like, well, something happened to Jeffrey. They don't think that I'll be the person that just won't be able to move. I'll just be stuck. I don't know that. You don't ever know what you're going to do till something happens. You know, I pray I don't even have to ever experience that. But, I mean, you know, just keeping it real, we never know, right? So I believe in having a life of your own in the sense that you have to know how to navigate this world. You have to. You have to know how to pay the bills. You have to. I'm off topic, but you got to know how to do things. So our topic is actually, again, do we spend so much time together? Do we enjoy spending so much time together? So that would be a yes. And also, I love that Jeffrey was just getting ready to talk about laughing and stuff, because we are two big kids at heart around here. We like Star Wars, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. We watch cartoons together sometimes. We don't have a lot of time to do that, but we still watch cartoons together. So we try not to take life too serious. I think if I had to pick who takes life more serious, who would it be?
Me.
Yes, and he needs to chill out some, because a lot of stuff is just not that serious. I've always been like that, where it's not that I don't care, but I've just always been like, it's going to work out. It's going to be okay. It always works out. Sometimes we're worried about stuff and it doesn't happen. I'm thinking, well, worst thing, my fingernail's going to fall off, and it, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the worst case scenario is. And sometimes that doesn't happen. So I do want him to continue to kind of loosen up more. And I think it will help with his overall health and stuff. But just chill out. And especially, again, experiencing so much death and loss in our families. A lot of times I don't give a flip. I don't. If it's not life or death, if I don't have to make a decision for real, like, do we pull this person off of life support or do we not? I don't care. And that's why my blood pressure, even though I'm overweight and, you know, my health and stuff is overall pretty good, because it's not that I don't care, again, like in a negative way, but I don't stress the small stuff. You know, I don't sweat the small stuff. There was a lady who wrote a whole series of different books. Don't sweat the small stuff. And I tried to live by that. So, so I want him to calm down a little bit more in that regard. So last point we had on here, we always try to have keep a couple of talking points so we don't just go off the chart. But the last thing is plan little adventures to continue to date each other. You know, even though we work together, we're together all the time, we will purposely go to lunch together, purposely do things that, you know, yeah, we clean together, we do this together, we do everything together, but purposely do something outside of our norm. Like, it may be a Thai restaurant, go get an ice cream, you know, something like that. So again, we try to avoid these gray divorces out here and teach you or share with you tips on how we've been able to maintain 33 years at the time of this recording of marriage and happily doing so. You know, we have times when a lot of y'all know me. If you know me, you know me. I'm always like this with Jeffrey. What that mean?
See all that violence. I tell her if I grew up in we're both from Detroit, and I had to always be in, well, I shouldn't say always, because that's not true, but I had several fights when I was a kid, and part of it was because of my brother. I was fighting because he was in something, but I've had fights, and I've been threatened over the years as a child. But you see that, folks? All that violence right there. She threatened me. I'll never say I'm gonna do that. You know. I mean, she's doing. I mean, we're joking. I mean, we not out here. We ain't nobody throwing no blows. We ain't throwing no blows in here and doing that crazy stuff. But I'm just joking. How she be? So he put the fist in me. I ain't never put no fist in her face. I'm gonna try to. Of course, that's crazy. What is that? But anyway. So those are the things, folks. We just to wrap this up here, just to keep in mind, as far as when you're spending a lot of time with each other, especially at this stage in your life, you want to plan things out. You want to communicate. You want to continue to date each other. If you do those things, then it's going to make your life a lot happier, and it's going to make it more fulfilled at this stage in your life.
So let's answer the question. Is it healthy to spend so much time together? Yes.
Yes, it is. But you got to do it right.
Do it right.
Do it right. And if you do it with and take some of these little tips that we've shared with you, you'll see some of the rough spots kind of smooth out. So, having said all that, we thank you for spending this time with us, and we'll see you in the next video. But
bye.
See you in a little bit, folks. Bye now.